Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about more Tesla content, of course, and it seems like there's always something going on with Tesla, so that's kind of like the benefit to owning Tesla stock, because it seems like there's always some sort of news that will influence it in some way. Sometimes there's really no influence on the actual share price and stuff, but it's still very interesting to keep up to date with what they're doing as a company, and especially when their business goes across multiple sectors, although their huge focus is on renewable energy, but as we know, their business focuses on battery production, vehicle production, solar energy power production, and then of course like the large scale company battery grid production, where they provide batteries like they did with Australia, and now they're doing it in the UK as well, I believe. So there's always some sort of news coming out with Tesla, and I think that's really interesting, honestly. So if you enjoy these types of videos, please make sure to smash that like button, drop a like on the video. If you do that, it just lets me know that you appreciate the Tesla content. And of course, it's always fun to do, honestly, to talk about these topics and to kind of let you all know as well, just in case you don't know already. And another thing that's very cool is that very rarely do you have a CEO of a company that commonly responds to people that ask them questions about what's coming up in the future and stuff like that. And I think when you have someone like Elon that is really responsive to his fans and to his investors, then that really adds a lot to the company as well, because there's like a more personal level interaction with that CEO. It makes them seem more human. Even though we know Elon is this super smart guy and he's the CEO of this company, we also realize that he's human when he responds to people like this and responds to his fans, and of course like when we see him dancing in China and stuff like that. So it's just always really cool to see, because very rarely can you think of another CEO that, let alone that you can even name, but a CEO that interacts with their fans and investors and people that are just curious about the future of the company. So I think that's very valuable. And it's just nice to see that Elon is appreciative of Tesla enthusiasts. And I commonly see him replying to like certain people. I guess it's people that he follows, like the Third World Tesla podcast members, like Viv and some other people like that. So it's always cool to see him respond to those certain people, because you know that he recognizes them and appreciates the fact that they're always asking him questions. So I think that's really cool when he interacts with his fans like that. And it's just one of those extra things where like you compare it to any other CEO of any company, and they don't interact with their people like that. So I think that's really cool. But just jumping into the topic for today, we are talking about Battery Day. So some sad news. I have sad news for y'all. Battery Day has been delayed once again. Most of y'all are probably not surprised by this. I wasn't either. I kind of just accepted the fact that we weren't going to have Battery Day this month just because of the Rona coming up and getting worse. And of course, considering it's already like June 20th and we had heard no word about it whatsoever, really. So with this news, I'll go ahead and jump over to Twitter to get Elon's exact words so you all know exactly what's going on here. So let's go ahead and go over to Twitter. And this basically starts out with an article from Clean Technica tweeting, Tesla Cybertruck will debut at the Peterson Auto Museum this weekend. And Elon replies, stop by the Peterson if you'd like to see the Cybertruck in real life. Lots of awesome cars and bikes there. Definitely worth seeing with or without a Cybertruck. So I think this is pretty awesome as well, because Elon is replying to like news articles and stuff. And I noticed that he does this often too. Sometimes if the news article title is a little bit like inaccurate, Elon will correct it. Or if it's correct as well, he'll confirm it. So I think that's pretty cool that he kind of keeps news sources in check as well. And then of course Kristen asks, will the Cybertruck be at the shareholders meeting? And he says yes, but we will have to postpone the annual shareholder meeting, as still no large gatherings allowed by July 7th. Not sure of a new date, but I'm guessing maybe a month or so later. And then Tesla owner Silicon Valley asks, dang, any updates on Battery Day? And he responds by saying, probably good to combine them since they are both converging in time. I'm hopeful we can announce a date after the July 4th week. And then Viv asks him, so both will probably be in Mountain View as always? Think you were still deciding between Cali and Texas for Battery Day some while ago. And then Elon responds, probably Fremont. And then Viv says, crossing all fingers travel restrictions will be lifted by then. So stoked for Battery Day especially. So as we can see right here, pretty much confirmed that the Tesla annual shareholders meeting and Battery Day will most likely be combined, and it's looking like it will be located at Fremont. And at least right here with this tweet, he mentions that we can announce a date after the July 4th week. So at least with this, we kind of have a set date on when there may be the announcement of this future meeting. But at least in the meantime, we don't have to think, okay, when is Battery Day coming up? We don't have any announcements. It's just left for us to question. We don't know if it's 2 months or 5 months away. At least we know sometime after July 4th then we may get some sort of announcement with him talking about it. So we know in the meantime, between now and July 4th, we can just take it easy, not worry about Battery Day, and realize that it's going to be announced later on, and just enjoy the time in between this date. The only thing that I think of, though, when he discusses having it at Fremont is I think there's going to be a lot more restrictions in terms of just like public gatherings and stuff in California than there would be in like Texas or some other states out there. So that could be an issue if they decide to hold both of these together in Fremont, because I feel like there will be more restrictions in terms of just like public gatherings and stuff. So that could be an issue, and they may have to eventually end up changing that, because I know that Elon realizes California is a little bit more strict when it comes to the Rona than other states, as we know with the Alameda County officials trying to close down the Fremont factory. So that's something to keep in mind as well. We have a few things at play. We have an announcement after the July 4th week, so that's a major point, and then we know that it's in Fremont. And then we also know that this is a combination of the annual shareholders meeting. And we also know that this is a combination of both the annual shareholders meeting and Battery Day as well. So these two will be together. So as we know, Battery Day is absolutely huge. It's one of the main reasons Tesla share prices have been going up over 1,000 recently, because people realize that once Battery Day actually happens and once they reveal these announcements, then it's most likely going to be huge information and some huge context towards the future of Tesla in terms of just innovation and stuff like that, and especially on battery improvements. And right now, one of my only major worries about Battery Day is if it is just going to be like the million-mile battery. I think at this point, it has to be more than a million-mile battery, because there's been news of another company in China in which Tesla is actually using their million-mile batteries for the China-made vehicles. So this is a huge deal right here, and it's definitely something that I'm worrying about, especially with Battery Day upcoming. I think with Battery Day upcoming, we have to have them announce something greater than a million-mile battery, because people are already producing it in China. A company is already making million-mile batteries ready to provide to companies like Tesla for production of their vehicles at the Shanghai Gigafactory. So this is a big deal. At this point, I think Tesla has to announce something better than the million-mile battery, because it's basically already been announced in China, and they've already stated that they're ready to produce it at high volume. So Tesla really has to beat that, in my opinion, and especially with them working on batteries for years and years, and them having their own Nevada factory focused primarily on creating batteries, and also with the fact that they've committed and invested a lot of money into research and development for improving battery efficiency and optimization. I feel like they have to have something better than the million-mile battery, or at least something that gives them a leg up on some of these other companies like in China. So I have to admit, as a Tesla fan and an investor, this is a little bit of concern when you do see some actual competition in terms of battery production. That is an issue. That's something to address, and that's something to consider. So it is kind of a worry that I have with Tesla. I will really be disappointed if they have something to announce on Battery Day that is something that we kind of already expected and is something that's already existing in China for production. But I feel like with Tesla, they're not the type to let the competition get ahead or even get close to them. So I feel like they're going to reveal something that we might not expect. That's really what I'm hoping for. But like I said, if it is just a million-mile battery and we've waited this long for this event, then I can't help but admit that I will be disappointed and kind of concerned in terms of just like their lead in battery production and efficiency and stuff like that. So what I'm really hoping is that Tesla has an advantage that people really don't expect, and that it's much more than a million-mile battery. And what I really want to see out of this is just information that continues to emphasize the lead that Tesla has over not only all of the other automakers out there, but even like the battery producers as well and the battery companies. So actually, as we get closer and closer to Battery Day, this information becomes even more crucial in terms of just us getting a gauge on how ahead Tesla is in terms of competition when it comes to battery production. We're not talking about just the vehicles and stuff like that. We're talking about battery production and energy efficiency. That's what I'm really worried about when it comes to Battery Day. That's the topic that I really want to hear more about. The only thing that I think Tesla could maybe do to help them out more in terms of just like competition would be like be a little bit more fierce, be a little bit more ruthless. I know they open source the patents so other companies would have an easier time transitioning, but I don't know. Sometimes I think like obviously I see the vision. I see why they're trying to do that. They want everyone to transition to renewable energy, and that is another goal of Tesla. It's not just a goal of them to make money, but a major goal for them as well is to just transition the world from ICE vehicles to electric vehicles and have an actual renewable energy source that is good for the planet. So I see see why they're trying to help other companies, but when you have other companies like in China, like XPeng, that are just totally cloning the Teslas, and then you have Trevor Milton and Nikola Motors talking smack on Elon Musk and saying that he can out Elon and all this stuff, and suing Tesla, I think Tesla could be a little bit more ruthless in terms of competition, and I think Elon has definitely learned that, especially with the announcement that they're really trying to forward production on the Tesla semis and get that time frame closer to us. And the main reason for that was because of Trevor Milton talking about Nikola and all of the hype behind Nikola and how Trevor thinks he can out Elon with the Tesla semi production. So I think that Elon is starting to realize that he does need to be a little bit more fierce in terms of competition. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. At this point, when Tesla is on top, when you're on top of a whole business sector, then you really have to make sure that you maintain that position, and you have to be a little bit fierce sometimes to make sure that happens. As long as you're following the laws and stuff like that, then it's all fair game in my opinion. But what I'm really just hoping for, not only the batteries but for the vehicles as well, is just that Elon makes it a little bit difficult for companies to do what Tesla is doing. And they're already doing that, of course. Tesla is miles ahead of all of these other automakers, but there are some issues right now where there's like outright clone companies like XPeng, I believe, and then there's also companies producing batteries that are at the level of what people are assuming Battery Day is going to announce. So that's just some things to keep in mind. And another thing to think about as well is if they're actually going to have Battery Day sometime in June or even August, because as we know, Battery Day was initially kind of canceled because of the whole Rona situation. We couldn't have any public gatherings and stuff, but it seems like there's going to be a second wave right now upcoming as well. So that's another huge concern as well, because it makes me think, when are we actually going to have Battery Day if there is another outbreak of the Rona? Because that definitely means that there's not going to be any sort of meeting for like months and months. So anyways, I just wanted to share this video with you all. I hope you enjoyed this content. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button, and also feel free to sign up to my referral links to Robinhood and Webull in the description below. If you sign up with those links, then we'll both get some free stocks. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay safe out there.